Mike Sabel, CEO and co-founder of Venture Global, and joins us now from Washington, D.C. Mike, congratulations on what they call the FID, Final Investment Decision. But the CP2 is already under construction. So what does this $15 billion do exactly?
Thank you, Brian. Good afternoon. It's great to be here. The incremental $15 billion, which incidentally is the largest project financing that's ever been done on a standalone basis, is the balance of the capital, along with the $4.5 billion we've invested already in phase one to complete approximately 20 million tons of production capacity for just that phase. At peak capacity, CP2 for the first two phases will be 28 million tons per annum.
That's a lot of homes. That's
Yes.
you know, and it's the math is so funky on LNG because you freeze it, then it becomes gas again. It's a couple million homes per year. This $750 billion that was announced in the energy deal, Mike, some of that is already sort of committed money. How much of that do we know is new money? What is that going to mean for Venture Global and the U.S. gas export industry?
Sure. You know, keep in mind the energy contracts typically are long-term contracts. In the LNG industry, a 20-year contract is fairly standard for long-term. And so given the size, you aggregate pretty quickly, you know, extremely large dollar values. But those long-term contracts are super valuable for the industry because we need to build enormous infrastructure. And so it's a great combination that allows those investments to be made that brings low-cost, clean energy to our friends in Europe and Asia and elsewhere. Venture Global believes we're the lowest cost builder of liquefaction capacity. And so this increased demand is going to allow us to bring more low-cost LNG and natural gas to the global markets to keep prices low and sustainable for decades to come.
I know that you just signed some deals with Germany.
Yes.
You signed a deal with Italy as well. You also know that we've been over there. I've been over there a couple of years, a couple of times, talking about this. I guess the question I had, Mike, and you're building Calcasieu Pass 2, the second terminal. Does the industry at large have enough capacity to meet $750 billion? Because when I look at the numbers, that's still well above where we are. So there's a big gap to fill. Do we have the capacity to fill that gap? Steal Russian cargoes?
Well, you know, the market, Asia and Europe, are both very short on electricity production capacity. So we believe we're still in the very early days of the deployment of global gas exports. And artificial intelligence demand just layers on top of an already existing shortage. And this is very bullish for the industry. Ultimately, the markets, because this is a commodity market, will decide. But yeah, absolutely, we believe that there is capacity in the U.S. Built on top of the innovation of you know, the shale gas revolution, Brian, which you've talked a lot about, and which the U.S. LNG industry is really built upon. And Venture Global brings our innovation to lower costs even further on top of the innovation of the you know, the gas production.
Yeah, because the dirty secret I've tried to highlight, we've tried to highlight on this network, is that Russia's selling a record amount of liquefied natural gas. They're not selling gas through the Nord Stream 2 pipeline. We know that got blown up by somebody. But they're selling a lot of liquefied natural gas. Yes. How fast can you guys ramp up? CP2's already under construction. You got the FID. By the way, 30 banks bid. I think 10 of those were in Europe. So that shows, to me, some kind of commitment by Europe. How fast can we ramp up?
Yeah, no, it's a great point. I think we ended up with 30 banks, which I think is the largest, broadest group of bank participation. We had $34 billion of orders for $15 billion of capital. Europe was extremely strong in support of the transaction, you know, well aligned with what European Union wants to do for the long term. We can bring it on very quickly. We're the fastest builder. We have available capacity at large scale. Ultimately, CP2 over the life of the project just CP2 will generate several $100 billion of sales of gas. So with CP2 and our other facilities, we actually can provide a large portion of that. And again, we think we have the lowest long-term contract price available in the U.S. market.